Woo! All right, guys, it's been a week, but we're finally here. Chapter 10,014 of One Piece, a lifelong ham actor. It's been a while, but we finally made it, and I'm excited for it. We had a great cover art. We got Trafalgar D. Law in front of a tiger. Apparently, this is based on some kind of story with a monk and a tiger that he had to outwit and capture. So that's pretty cool. Once again, I'll kind of breeze over that because as much as I love the cover art, what I really live for are the cover stories that are actually canon to the plot and actually like are intricate and lead to stuff. And apparently, sometimes they do relate to plot, but more times than not, they don't. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this.
頑張れそう頑張れ諦めないで口笛吹きさ歩き出そうよ Going now
So I'm really glad we start off with this, and that's Luffy falling into the ocean, right? And so Oda doesn't waste time. He shows us what's happening. He's like, no, Luffy's falling. No, he's not going to be rescued in midair. Nothing like that. He is in the water. There are dire circumstances happening right now. What is going to happen to Luffy? And I think there are a lot of possibilities here. Well, actually, that's not even true. There's a few possibilities. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple things that Kaido said because he said some really, really important stuff kind of haphazardly. First thing I'll start with is something that's probably grand scheme less important, but super important for defeating Kaido. And Kaido was like, "What was that you said? Gamo, Gamo, no." And then he just whoa, and pretty much, or sorry, his laugh is like whoa, roll, something along that lines. I need to watch the anime because I'm pretty strictly manga only. So I gotta hear how it's actually like said or laughed in the anime. But yeah, he basically mocks his Gomu Gomu no attack setup. Now, at first, I thought he was just, kind of just clowning Luffy, like, ha 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 ha, ha. I'm Luffy, I'm a rubber man, gum gum pistol. But no, I don't think that was the case. I think that it was a situation where I think Luffy was gonna try a new technique. A lot of people are kind of torn between is it a new technique or a new form. I'm gonna go with a new technique because I've never seen Luffy start off a new form with like Gomu Gomu no. Now, granted, it could be one of those things where he uses a different forms technique in his base form, but I really don't think that was the case. I think that he was trying to, on the fly, as Luffy typically does, create a new move, and either Kaido used his observation hockey, or Kaido was like not about it. He said, "This ain't Dragon Ball Z. You ain't finna do that to me." But long story short, it looks like Luffy was probably distracted while trying to execute this new move, and Kaido used that moment to his advantage and took him out. So that right there is very interesting. I'm very interested to know what happened. I hope we get like a little flashback or at least see it later, the technique that he was trying to execute. Next up, he says, "You'll never become Joy Boy." This is huge. This is absolutely huge. We've been wondering for the life of us for the longest time who exactly Joy Boy is, what his purpose is, how is he going to come back? Is he a person? Is he an entity? And this kind of steers us a little bit towards that direction. So it's either a title or it's either some kind of it's a title or some form of mantle to be fulfilled. Like I've said several times in several of my reviews, it really does seem like I said it in my like Luffy is like Sun Wukong pretty much review, where it seems like there is a way that will is preserved. And I've said this several times, the series just seems to be about the preservation of will, the enacting of will and carrying on will, and other people's wills can live through you and can be carried on and enacted through you. So maybe the will of Joy Boy is something that like can be enacted through people. I don't want to use this example because I really hated the ending of Naruto, but you know how Sasuke and Naruto are the reincarnations of Ashura and Indra. Now they're their own people, but they still have like, the spirits or whatever of Ashura and Indra. Maybe it's something akin to that where anyone in the D clan or whatever can have the spirit or the potential to become Joy Boy. Maybe you don't really actually become Joy Boy. Maybe you just carry out his will, what he was trying to do, and thus he fulfills his promise because his descendants or what have you, or his allies, whatever, carried it out, and Joy Boy has returned, but he returned via his actions and not actually physically, tangibly. I'm not quite sure about this, but yeah, that's kind of what I think is going on with that. I'm super excited to hear more about that, especially seeing as to how Luffy had the voice of all things, Roger had the voice of all things. So I really do think that there is something to that. Also, like I said, there are many theories. Maybe I'll do like a whole dedicated video to it. But as of right now, D could stand for. I have a bunch of theories. I'll try to go from like least likely to most likely. It could stand for dragon. It could stand for. It could be D kind of looks like a smile turned on its side. So D could actually not even be it might not even be a letter. That might be the funniest part. It might not be a letter. It might be a symbol, a representation of the D clan, the smiling clan, and it's a smile turned on its side. I don't know. I'm throwing ideas out there. For the longest time I thought it meant dawn. For the longest time, I thought it meant dawn. Now I'm leaning on more towards demon because they're the enemies of the gods, and they cause trouble, and there's the celestial. So there's a lot of theories with that. So anyway, moving on. Luffy is in the water. It's no joke. He's going to drown. He's going to drown. There is no way within his own power he can save himself. He has to be rescued. Now, I was wondering if we were going to see him falling. I was wondering if someone was going to save him in midair. If they were above the flower capital, maybe he might just fall on the flower, like fall on the land. Like he would be, the shock from falling that high would probably knock him out for quite some time. But no, he went straight in the ocean. So I have a couple theories right now. Well, a plethora of things could happen, and I kind of don't want to get into all of them because, like, for example, I still think that there's no way Marco is here on his own. I think that Whitebeard had such a loyal crew, and I don't know if I forget if they got like this bandit or whatever, but I just find it highly unlikely that that if any of the Whitebeard pirates were to find out that Marco is here, that they wouldn't show up to help, especially with the flashback with Ace and how like they chose back then not to come to Wano despite Odin being killed by Kaido. So I don't think they would allow this to happen again, especially if Marco's there, because Marco has the potential to be killed here too. So that's something that might happen. I still think there's a part of me that still thinks possibly the Blackbeard pirates might show up. There's a possibility that more of the Marines might show up. There's a possibility that my theory about Moria showing up is kind of going more and more out the window, just because it kind of seems like he died trying to confront Blackbeard. Maybe he works for Blackbeard now, or maybe they control him in some way or form. But I really, really wanted closure with what happened between Kaido and Moria. I kind of wanted Moria to come help the Straw Hats and kind of get some form of revenge on Kaido. Whether that happens or not is still up in the air, but I would love to see that. So anyway, getting back to the matter of hand, I think one of two things is going to happen. I'll start with the least likely, and then I'll say the one that I think is the most willing to happen. So once again, Momo is having headaches, as we see in the following panels. And last time he had these headaches, it was when he was hearing the voice of all things and he was hearing Zunisha. So my theory is that either A, Zunisha is here, and you guys who have been following me for quite some time have heard me say, I really do think Zunisha is going to show up again. I do think Zunisha will be relevant again. We were told that the Minks aren't destined to stay on Zunisha for long. Maybe they might relocate and immigrate to Wano. That's part of like Wano's borders opening. The first new residents are going to be the Minks, and the Minks and the citizens in Wano do have a tied history. So I do see that being a potential fix. There is a chance that Onigashima might land on Zunisha's back and become like it's a new continent. That's a possibility. And so it's either Zunisha or maybe he can control the Sea Kings. I really don't like that theory though, because it kind of takes away from the princess Shirahoshi. Like her whole thing, especially being one of the three weapons, is that like she can command the Sea Kings, and so if Momo can do it, that's a little bothersome. But this also kind of brings back up the theory that maybe Momo himself is possibly one of the three weapons. And so maybe it's either Zunisha or other, maybe not sea creatures, but massive land creatures that he can control. I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I'm spitballing. I know as much as you guys, but that's my theory on that as of right now. I really wouldn't like that to be the case though, because like controlling monsters and like giant creatures, I kind of want to stay with um Shirahoshi. But there has to be a reason that Momo is the only person that can control Zunisha. And there has to be this probably has something to do in conjunction with what Momo says, that apparently he is important. And of course, the Kunoichi's like, what do you mean? Of course you're important. Like, you're gonna be Shogun. And I think Momo clearly is like, no, in the grand scheme of things, like, yeah, that's important, but that's not as important as what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm really curious as to when we find out and learn more about that. And then my actual theory about how Luffy gets rescued is that I think everyone's forgotten about this, but Law's crew and his submarine are still there. Way back in, I believe, like chapter 984 or something like that. Um, Pretty much, they're in turbulent waters. They open up the hatch to the submarine, and Law, along with the with Neko and someone else, uses shambles to teleport themselves to Onigashima. However, several chapters after that, I believe like 997, uh, Onigashima gets carried in the air, and the rest of the Heart Pirates lament or get upset about the fact that they weren't able to board Onigashima before it rose, and so all they're able to do is follow the island. They pretty much say, we got to get out of here for now. We got to stay a little bit away from the island and follow up. So I would not be surprised if the whole time Onigashima is flying and levitating towards the flower capital, the Heart Pirates have just been dutifully following along behind it. Just, you know, just following it, keeping an eye on it, and now they see something following. They may not even know it's Luffy, but obviously I think they'll go check it out. I think that is the number 110% what is going to happen. The Momo thing is a possibility, but I do think this is more concrete. It makes sense according to Occam's razor. It's the simplest explanation, so it's the most probable explanation. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. We haven't seen them in a while. They're in a submarine. They're gonna be safe. Luffy is sinking. The only thing that makes sense to find him, besides obviously a Sea King or Jinbei, but Jinbei's occupied, would be the Heart Pirates. And obviously, they're indebted to Luffy. Luffy has helped their captain several times. I mean, their captain has helped Luffy too, but they've helped each other. They've looked out for each other, and they know about each other's alliance. So it just makes a lot of sense. It stands to reason that they're going to be the ones to save him. So yes, guys, anyone that was holding their breath about the main character dying somehow, calm down, take a deep breath. It's fine. He's cool. He's Gucci. Luffy's fine. It's gonna be fine. So anyway, we move on. We see Yamato just messing up Kaido's squad left and right. She's just running through, blah blah blah. I'm back, ready to battle, looking for Kaido. So that's awesome. We might get a little bit of a one-on-one, if not a one-on-one, a bit of a skirmish between her and Kaido. We get to see how she stacks up. Obviously, we are going to see her devil fruit ability manifest, just because as strong as she is, we can definitely we've seen how powerful Kaido is, and there's no way that she's going to be able to take him on. Obviously, Kaido has put her in her place before, hence why she was handcuffed and stuff like that. So I'm assuming he was the one, probably the only one able to put her in handcuffs, unless it was one of the executives like King, which, by the way, I haven't seen him in a while. Before, he was tag teaming Marco, and like he's been kind of MIA of the last chapter or so. So I'm very curious to where King is. Speaking of the executives, after Kaido defeats Luffy, he has the Marys go around and basically announce to the Straw Hats that their captain is defeated, and hey, no big deal. If you guys just surrender, blah blah blah, swear fealty and loyal to me, it's all good. We can all be homies. We can be friends. You guys are pretty powerful. I wouldn't mind having powerful allies. Your boy's dead. What's the point of resisting me? And I just love how majority of the Straw Hats are just either in disbelief, incredulous. Sanji and Zoro both simultaneously are like, no way, hell no. So, once again, the loyalty of the Straw Hats is tested, and once again, it's proven that like there's nothing that will make them go against their captain's will, and there's nothing that will make them question their captain's ability. And despite hearing that their captain is dead, they refuse to believe it, and that's pretty tough. Those are loyal friends. Those are the kind of ride or dies that I want in my circle at all times. So I really like that those set of panels and that reaction overall. And so I said, speaking of executives, so I was gonna go into Queen, but then I was like, oh, I'm gonna skip the whole scene with Momonosuke and Kanjuro and all that. So, which one do I want to talk about first? Well, let's go with the one that happened first. So, Momo is having first, he's reading Odin's diary, and then he reveals that I'm actually important, but we don't get to find out why he's important. And then we see the Mary there. The Kunoichi immediately is like, yo, that's not good. If that's there, that means that they can not only see us, but they can track us. So we got to get out of here. Off panel, apparently, Kinemon and Kikunoju show up. I kind of a little weird how they weren't there and then they were there. I kind of didn't like that, but I understand that Oda probably is like stretched for time and he has to get certain things moving and going and rolling. So that's what he's doing right now. Momo's having a splitting headache right now. So he's hearing the voice of all things. So I'm curious as to what's happening right now. Is he hearing Zunisha? Is he hearing some other monsters that are around? Is it have something to do with Kaido or Luffy, like Luffy being in pain or his Conqueror's Haki screaming or something of that nature? We absolutely do not know, but all we know is that Momo is in extreme pain, and the last time he was in the kind of pain and having these kind of headaches, it was trying to hear the voice of Zunisha. So that's all we have to go on as of this moment. Kanjuro shows up, and I'll be real with you, I hated this scene. I hated this fucking scene because, bro, it's Kanjuro. Like, Kiku was like, oh, the whole time she's like, oh, it's not him. It's not him. And, like, Kanjuro, I love the title, the lifelong ham actor. A ham actor is an over dramatic actor, an actor that does too much, that, lays it on thick pretty much. And so Kenjo is literally laying it on thick, like, what? What are you talking about? It is me. It's Odin. Remember, I adopted you and your brother. Why are you acting like this? Like, he's like literally lying to someone that knows that he's lying. But the part that like actually pissed me off was it worked. I was like, oh, this dude's an idiot. I was expecting Kiku to just like show up and be like, shut up, and slash him. But no, she gets distracted and gets stabbed. And I was like, you dumb fucking. Like, I wanted to cuss her out. I was like, how do you let that happen? You're a samurai. I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed in her as a samurai. I have all these ideas of samurai and what they're supposed to be able to accomplish and be in control of their emotions and whatnot. Like, at this point, Otama is more of a samurai than her, because Otama is all about, holding your feelings and sacrificing, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And for Kiku to like, let them, she already screwed up by letting Kanjuro live the first time. Like, I feel like this is the third time she's let it happen, but it's definitely at least the second. And so I'm just like, bro, are you not gonna learn your lesson? And so, you know what? This might sound cold. But I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her. Like, you knew who he was, you knew what was gonna happen, you knew he's trying to kill you, and yeah. You got stupidly. So yeah, man, I guess like at least when Pedro killed himself, it was to save the Straw Hats. Your death means nothing now. It means nothing now. And so like, I don't know, am I being too hard? Please let me know if I'm being too hard, but like, her death means nothing now, and that's just honestly super disappointing to me. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, moving on. Kinemon obviously is incensed. He is furious and immediately slashes Kenjuro like, I don't know, Kiku should have done. It wasn't that hard. And I'm really hoping this time around that he's actually dead. I'm hoping that they check to see if it's a painting, because this will be annoying if he comes back. Honestly, I'm kind of more inclined to believe he's dead this time around, But if he is dead this time around, I don't like that either, because it's like, what was the point? I'm thinking one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to cause, some kind of devastation, and maybe the devastation is simply killing Kiku, but that's not enough for me. I thought he was going to really, really do execute some part of a larger plan. That didn't happen. Or I thought he was going to have some kind of redemption, man. I thought, at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to like, justify his behavior, but he's a Kazuki, right? And uh um, I forget his last name, but he's the same clan as Kurazumi. There we go, not Kazuki. He's a Kurazumi. His whole life, he's been attacked, he's been shamed, so it's kind of not his fault that he became who he is. At the end of the day, everyone needs to be given their autonomy and needs to take responsibility for their actions, but you kind of understand that, like, where he's coming from. He's been hunted his whole life, he's been an enemy his whole life, and it's been quote unquote Odin's family's fault. And so I thought maybe there might be a clarification or something where he realizes, what, like, Odin really did treat me well. These really were my brothers and sisters and blah blah blah, and I really did have, these were my Nakam, and I had a connection to them. I was really hoping to get something like that, but you know what? If this is it right here, I'm fine with this being it. I'm done with Kenjiro, because like, that was stupid. Kiku dying was stupid, and now him dying now is stupid. If he was gonna die now, why not die earlier? There's no real closure here, so that's why I'm a little sus of everything happening right there. But anyway, we will move on. We'll come back to that later. So we move back, and oh man, I am loving this. I am loving this panel. You see Chopper just out here like flipping Queen on his back. I'm like, Jesus, Chopper, I didn't know you went that hard. And so the whole time, by the way, I'm noticing that I'm like, wait, what are those arrows in Chopper's back? And then I also see those arrows spread out along like the other beast pirates that have defected. And it looks like Perospero has caught up and he's aiding Queen in the fight. Like I said earlier, King is nowhere to be found, so I'm really interested in what he could be doing. I wonder where Marco. Actually, I think we did see Marco. We saw Marco for a little bit. I'm hoping that Marco's gonna go off and try to heal Zoro. There's a lot of doctors around Zoro right now, so that should be really good. I'm really happy to see Chopper going ham and fucking up Queen, like fucking up an executive. Now, according to the chapters, it doesn't really seem like Queen is taking a lot of injury. Queen is being really lackadaisical about this. Like, I thought it was dope how Chopper clocked him before, and now he's flipping him, but it just honestly doesn't seem to be doing much. As I talked in the previous reviews, it does seem like the Zoan fruits do give some kind of like increased durability and way increased regenerative ability, so that like they can take all this damage and it's pretty like meh. So it just seems like Queen isn't trying, which, why he's not trying, I don't understand. Why not just end this all right here, right now? But that's not happening. We see Queen after getting flipped, whatever, pretty much doing a counterattack, and you see his neck break off into like little segments, like cyborg like segments, and that's nothing new. We've known for a long time. Our first clue was when he got hit and smoke came out. We kind of assumed it was the cigar, but that was, Oda once again trying to subvert us, trying to trick us. And we learned more when he fired the cannon out of his mouth. I was talking to some friends of mine, and they didn't even realize that was an indication of him being a cyborg. But yeah, he's clearly a cyborg. He's clearly done a lot of mechanical things to him. I'm hoping that if he does get murked or captured, Frankie can learn more about him to perhaps possibly upgrade himself. Because it's really cool how Queen is a cyborg, and you wouldn't really know it. Like, you thought he was a cyborg because of his arm alone, but no, he's done some really cool internal designs, and I'm really interested in how he was able to do that. We do know that for a time he was working with Dr. Vegapunk. We do know that he's super intelligent, so that's something I look forward to coming up as well. We get a little bit of a flashback, and I was super happy because the Rumble Balls haven't been really important recently, and we don't really know much in terms of how strong has Chopper gotten since the time skip. All we really know is he's gotten better control over his forms, and he can control himself in Monster Point. He doesn't go crazy. So we're told that, hey, Caesar was interested in his Rumble Ball. I was like, hey buddy, let me look at this. Let me fix it for you. It's your boy Caesar Clown. I wouldn't do nothing wrong. Let me upgrade this for you. Why? Are you scared? You wouldn't be scared, would you? I mean, strength is about risk and sacrifice. So I'm really curious about this Rumble Ball that Caesar produced. I'm hoping Chopper is smart enough to, after he got it from him, have investigated it. But I'm expecting something along the lines of, um, I wasn't expecting to use this so soon. I didn't have time to, reverse engineer it, to test it to see what's all in it. You know, I do not trust Caesar Clown as far as I could throw him, but it just seems like a really bad look for him to try to intentionally harm Chopper, especially because I feel like the Straw Hats would wage an everlasting war on him if he was responsible for the death of their Nakama, especially their cute, adorable mascot Chopper, who is their doctor, who doesn't really do anything, who doesn't do anything to anyone, and like will rescue friend and foe alike. So to do that to someone like Chopper, I definitely think it's a suicide mission. However, maybe Caesar Clown, not without the intention of harming him, but getting the best and most out of the Rumball ability, does do some really interesting things. So I think this is going to be more than a 30-minute. I think this is going to be way more than a 30-minute buff. Because if it's a 30-minute buff, that's a little bit whack. Like, okay, so he could just stay in Monster Point longer. Yes, that's useful, but I need a little bit more. So I'm hoping that he does get a lot greater power. But I am very scared and concerned about the drawback. So yeah, that's that part. So I'm very excited to find out more about this Rumball. And like I've been saying before, I am super curious what happens if any of these other Zoan, we are in a island full of Zoan users. I'm curious if any of these other Zoan users try to use the Rumble Ball. Um maybe Queen sees Chopper take the Rumble Ball, is like, what's that? When he ate that thing, it made him super strong. It kind of reminds me of something I was working on. Maybe I should try it. And maybe he tries it, maybe he gets super strong, or maybe it backfires and screws him over. So a lot of ideas here, a lot of theories, a lot of potential. Now, here comes the very last, scene of the manga, the very last panels I want to talk about, and that's when Kaido shows up to pretty much kill Momonosuke and the rest of the Scabbards and just put an end to all of this because quite frankly, he's over it. It's time to move on. It was fun. He was occupied for a while, but it doesn't look like these guys have the ability to kill him, so it's a waste of time, and he's just gonna end this. And then he goes, I believe is it a Thunder Bagua? Is it a Thunder Bagua he uses? Huh, I can't tell. I can't tell if it's a Thunder Bagua. He doesn't say the name, but you do see the lightning coming off his Kanobo, which you can assume he's using Conqueror's Hockey because of the design. And then you see Kinemon go ahead and block it. Whether or not Kinemon can block that, I have no clue. There was something there was something in another video I want to talk about how common Conqueror's Hockey is. Is it actually rare? Blah blah blah. And I think it's super rare. My friends arguing like it might not be that rare, and I was like, and the fact that maybe when they all used Ryu, they used Conqueror's Hockey too. I don't think the Scabbards have it. If there is one that would have it, it might be Kinemon, but I highly doubt it. I don't know how he survives this attack. I'm honestly I'm not gonna speculate here because honestly this could go either way. As of right now, I don't understand how he survives this attack. I just don't understand it. I don't see it. Um, Actually, I do have a theory. I'm gonna say this theory after I say this next part. But yeah, I think Kinemon is pretty much screwed. I don't see what Kinemon can do here. I don't think any amount of anger motivation will help him defeat Kaido. It took him and the rest of the Scabbards to even wound Kaido. So by himself, I don't see it. But something I didn't notice at all. I didn't notice at all. But then I went to read some comments, and someone was like, "Everyone's talking about this, but no one's talking about what cracked Kaido's Kanobo." And I was like, Kaido's Kanobo is cracked. And I immediately had to go look. And yeah, that jaunt is cracked. So part of me is thinking that whatever Luffy was about to do was so strong that it jacked up Kaido's Kanobo. So I just need Luffy to really get back and show us what exactly he did because I'm super excited. By the way, as I was saying that, I realized that that might be what saves Kinemon. Maybe that crack maybe he goes to block Kaido, and then he would normally be destroyed, but the force of the attack and Kinemon blocking makes that crack expand, and the Konobo breaks or something of that nature. That's just wishful thinking, but yeah. What do you guys think? What do you think caused that crack? I'm gonna leave the review for here. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. I might expand on this later, but yeah, what are your thoughts on the chapter? Did you like it? What parts did you like the most? What parts did you dislike? What do you think is gonna happen with Luffy? How do you think he's gonna be rescued? Do you think Yamato's gonna be able to make it and confront Kaido in time? Which, by the way, that actually sucks. Like, talk about like convenient how she literally just left Momo to go fight Kaido just for Kaido to end up going where Momo is in the first place. What That's some actual troll shit from Oda, as if he's actually trying to like prolong the fight as long as possible. What do you think King's doing right now? How long do you think Zoro is going to be out of commission? Do you think Sanji is going to show up and involve himself in the fight with Queen and help out Chopper? Do you think Chopper has a chance to fight Queen on his own? And what do you think about? Do you think that everyone involved in the fight is here right now? Don't forget, the Big Mom Pirates are still trying to figure. The Big Mom Pirates are still trying to get up this goddamn waterfall, bro. The entire arc, bro. The entire arc. The big yo. Oh my. I'm sorry, bro. But for real, they try to get up this waterfall. Oh, I'm done. I'm sorry. Oh my god, bro. Jesus, man. I don't know if it's incompetence or just Jesus. Anyway, but yeah, what do you guys think? Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. We broke 100. Thank you guys. The next goal is 1,000. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Have a great day, guys. Take care.